aware basic space includes everything, so it includes the human beings and everything else, the entire magical display. It's just that whatever this magical display of descriptive phenomena are, none of them have an origin independent of aware basic space. So as long as we take ourselves to be all our superstitions about who we are, then everything about our life is focused on us, this personal identity that we're trying to prove exists. So we are trying to constantly uphold this idea of a personal identity, I, me, and mine, and keep it comfortable. So all of the thinking and the emotional states and the actions of the body are all focused on this personal identity. The idea of a self, an individual self, that's somehow separate from somebody else and needs to protect itself in this environment of the world. So we fear a lot of the things going on within us, our negative thoughts and our negative emotions that we can't seem to control no matter how hard we try. We might be able to neutralize them, but we can never get rid of them no matter how hard we try. And then we have other things going on that are just neutral or positive, and so we try to build up the positive and reduce the negative. And all of the life, everything about the awareness is all wrapped up in this idea of a personal identity. But the more we just allow the ease of every perception without getting lost in the filmic content of what's going on, the drama and the description and the elaboration, that kind of thing, the more we find that our body, speech, and mind is not limited to such a narrow focus. It's just like spending your whole life stepping across cracks in the sidewalk so you won't break your mother's back. Step on a crack, break your mother's back. Well, spending the whole life focused on the self is engaging in a superstition just like that. But when we find the ease of our own awareness and acquaint ourselves more and more with that, and for some people it's quick, for others it's slower, but it doesn't have to take long. We already are who we are. So once we know who we are, we can support ourselves in that becoming more obvious once we have the direct taste of that. And as we do so, we find that rather than our body, speech, and mind being this,
it's still there, that's what I mean.
This, we are vast as infinite space, and so is our body, speech, and mind. So our body, speech, and mind is vast as infinite space, entirely aware, and inseparable from compassion and wisdom. Compassion and wisdom that is the benefit of this whole of all of basic space. And how that changes the way we live our life is that we're not wrapped up in such intense focus on being someone. Of course we're still someone. I'm not positing something like non-existence or nothingness or emptiness. Those are all extremes, they're biases. They're definitely not enlightenment. They're definitely not completely perfect enlightenment. Even sometimes they're touted to be. They're anomalies of point of view. They're just they're not the conventional points of view or perceptions, but they're just anomalies. They're more superstitious beliefs about what enlightenment is. And so the way that it works is, instead of feeling tense all the time, we're totally at ease. We're at ease in all situations without impediment. No matter what the situation is, from extremely adverse to extremely pleasant, we're completely at ease. Everywhere we go, no matter who we see, no one's a stranger. Everything is us, aware basic space. And of course, everything about the body still continues to be as it is, whatever it is. Nothing changes, yet everything changes, because we are no longer buying into superstitious beliefs about ourselves. Rather than having an entire life based on superstition, we grow more and more familiar with the reality of what we are. And as we do so, we cut through the solidity of all the superstition. If we try to analyze all the superstition, then we're still lost in superstition. If we try to transform it or make the negative points of view into good points of view, we're still totally lost in superstition. All we can do is do nothing and allow the ease of our being to become more evident. And in that is enormous potency beyond anything that could possibly come about through superstition, the superstition of limiting our human life, our precious human life, to some idea that's based on cause and effect in time and space. So it's just like the basic question to ask, would I rather continue the rest of my life being tense most of the time, feeling that tension right in here that almost everybody has, or would I like to feel totally at ease? That's the basic question. Because you see, when we die, that's our opus moment, of life. However we've been living our life, if we've been living our life as that tension of superstition, then we die that way, If we have been living our life as ease, then we've taken advantage of living in a land of jewels. If we spend our whole life wrapped up in superstitious beliefs, we don't even know we're living in a land of jewels. It's just what's right here, just the spaciousness that is. It's so evident, it's so evident. What your direct experience is right here in this room, right now, that's what you are. You don't have to grasp or struggle for it. You already are that. So what you experience right here, this moment, with nothing going on, that's who you are. That's what aware basic space is. And that's what you are everywhere. It's you who's having the direct experience of it. That's your own awareness. You see, whatever you are aware of, awareness is the constant. Aware basic space is the underlying basis of every perception. So just know, no matter where you are that. That's it. Very simple.
Yeah.
Very simple. Don't try to make anything out of it, ever. Yeah. It's easier than easy. Closer than close. Humankind, the global human culture, is at a very critical juncture right now. If we continue all together to engage in these superstitious beliefs, then we'll destroy ourselves. Humankind throughout its existence has evolved. Everything about human beings has evolved. And right now we're at this turning point in terms of letting go of these superstitious beliefs. Now, the only way that can come about for everyone, in other words, what you call the superstitious culture, human culture, is for each person to take up the mantle of what they truly are and to realize that we already are that, no matter what circumstance we're in and no matter what beliefs anyone else has. Whatever beliefs anyone has, we're already free of all those beliefs. So we need to take responsibility for that, each of us. That we're responsible for our frames of reference, totally responsible. And if we adopt frames of reference, then we limit our recognition of aware basic space. We take that frame of reference to be real, whether it's a superstitious global human culture or not. You see, there are many ways of being with this. When when we're living from superstition, everything seems to be something, like the whole culture seems to be superstitious. But as aware basic space, we see so clearly that everyone already is aware basic space. You know, like I don't sit here thinking, oh, everybody has a lot of points of view. Everybody is aware basic space. I know that conclusively, and I've seen the evidence come to bear in so many people in the last 25 years. So many people. Because you see, once we taste that and we allow that ease of every perception, it becomes automatic. Then we don't need to try to do it. So once we're introduced to aware basic space, just like everyone right here, right now, is already introduced to it. Just that reality that you feel right here of nothing going on, that is aware basic space. And that's who you are everywhere, no matter where you are. So then to take responsibility for being that wherever you are, or what you're doing, that's what it means to take up the mantle of what you are. And the more that you realize that about yourself, the more it doesn't matter what's going on. You see through everything. You see through everything, no matter what it is. As it's just all who you are. But you don't even need to have that frame of reference. You don't need any frame of reference. Not either dual nor non-dual, existent nor non-existent. Things like that become meaningless to you. You wouldn't even want to get into any discussions like that. It's just all the labels, no matter what they are, they're aware basic space. So why try to take one of them, like non-dual or dual or non-existent or existent or manifest or unmanifest or whatever it is, and make it into what awareness is. We don't need to do that. We just need to condense it. You know, like when you put something in a pot and you boil it and it condenses down to, if you put watery soup in a pot and you condensed it down, it would get very thick. So you condense it down to its essence, and that's what we do. We condense everything down to its essence, aware basic space. And then we see everything clearly. We see everything clearly as it is. We don't need to adopt any superstitious beliefs about what it is or how it comes about. And then, you know, it doesn't matter where we are. We can just be timelessly free no matter what we are, because we learn more and more that these perceptions, even though they have a description within the realm of cause and effect, that their essence or underlying basis is only aware basic space. So we feel more and more ease and less tension. How many people are feeling tense right now? You're feeling tense? Pardon? Pardon? Oh, you drank 2 coffees. Well, you know, the jitters that you get from drinking all that caffeine, that's aware basic space too. But if you take those yourself to be those jitters, it'll be uncomfortable. Yeah. We've never been tied or tethered into anything. The city of perceptions is already empty. So you see, the more the ease of your awareness becomes obvious, the less it matters what anyone else is doing or believing. But yet at the same time, there's an enormous potency that's unleashed and becomes available to you. It's already present. It's just as long as we're all wrapped up in ourselves, we can't see it, we can't feel it. And then all these things that concern us, we know what to do about them. Not only do we know what to do about them, we're not just armchair philosophers. We can actually do something about them. We can take action that's effective. Well, just stop worrying about all that. Stop intellectually speculating about it. Because, see, nothing leaves or enters awareness. There's nothing that ever leaves or enters
No, but now
awareness.
you do what you
So
said,
so there's no movement that moves out of awareness to do something. Everything, the movement, the body, the action, the thinking about the action, all the aspects of the action itself, it all is awareness. But that can only be realized as the ease of awareness. And what I'm stating to you, and I'm telling you at the absolute truth here, is that the more you allow that ease without speculating or imagining what's going to happen or how it's going to happen, the more you just simply allow that seeing, allow that seeing, allow that seeing, allow that seeing, the more you will see that you are capable of incredible things. If you want to be, you don't have to be. But the reality of what we are is immensely powerful. That means, anything anyone has ever done, we can do and beyond that. So, especially for you young people in the room, what I'm talking about, this non-dual perspective, so to speak, it will be the perspective that becomes more and more pervasive in this millennium. You can count on it. It's guaranteed. And all leadership, all effective leadership will come from that perspective. No one will be able to be a leader without that perspective, if we last that long. But in the meantime, we can take leadership of our own life. We can take leadership of our own life. It's very, very important. We're at this critical turning point, really. We're at a critical turning point in terms of our evolution. We either have to grow or go, one or the other. So you see, if we have a frame of reference that I've got to keep looking for enlightenment, I've got to figure out what it's going to be like, I've got to find somebody who can give it to me, I can't do anything to get it. If we have frames of reference like that, then we just have another superstition. It just requires that we get down to business with the reality of what we are. If we have a bunch of perceptions and we're always lost in those perceptions, then we'll spend our life that way. But if we stop elaborating, if we rest naturally without seeking anything, just allow the seeing without seeking anything, without describing anything, then we realize more and more who we are. But that's the only way that conclusively we can have that direct experience. This is the easy way. I'm not telling you anything new. I'm giving a teaching today, as I do every single minute of my life, on the direct perception of awareness. So the opportunity available in this circumstance right here, there are two opportunities available. One is direct introduction to your awareness in a powerful and profound way, where you have a direct experience of the reality that you are aware basic space. And the other opportunity offered in the Great Freedom Teaching is that will become fully evident. If you accept it and commit to it, it will become fully evident, and you will receive all the support you need to be that. So those are the opportunities here. It's not, to persist in thinking that enlightenment is rare, it's just for special people, or it has something to do with this or that, is to persist in a superstition. We all are who we are. We already are who we are. There's no way to avoid it. There's absolutely no way to avoid it. And we can either know that or not. So I really invite everyone to know that. I'm not just talking as somebody who's talking about some kind of futuristic action. This has been my direct experience for 25 years in terms of my own life, and then so many people I've had the privilege to know over the past 25 years and give these direct teachings where the full evidence of what always is became obvious and continues to be obvious. See, once you realize this, and you actually begin to allow the seeing, allow the ease, allow the rest of every perception, it becomes more and more obvious. There can't be any falling back from that. Whereas if we have a big spiritual experience and get into some bodily state, very often there's falling back from that because it's an extreme. It's just an anomaly of point of view, no matter how delicious it is. The only freedom that ever is the freedom as immediate perception. Everything, no matter what it is already timelessly free. If we don't realize that each of these perceptions is timelessly free and try to split ourselves off from perceptions in order to get timelessly free, then we can never be free. We've just adopted another superstitious belief. So just the ease of every perception very quickly becomes the ease of every perception without trying to do so.